Every time a train comes into Bradford station, when all its passengers have boarded, it has to reverse out again to leave. The lack of a through line symbolises the poor transport links which can leave this city of 500,000 feeling like it's a dead end. Prime Minister Boris Johnson won the 2019 election with a promise to level up parts of Britain which felt left behind. Better rail links were a key part of this pledge, with a high-speed line planned to link Bradford with Manchester and Leeds. But in 2021, that plan was cancelled, leaving locals feeling the Prime Minister had let them down.
I think it should be fair to everybody. I think everybody should get something, but it doesn't always work like that, does it, unfortunately?
Levelling up was meant to be a benefit of Brexit, with new funds unlocked for parts of Britain outside the prosperous South East. But with the economy now struggling, plans are being scaled back. That's frustrating for companies like this aerospace business on Bradford's outskirts. The poor transport links make it difficult to attract skilled workers. They had set their hopes on the promised rail upgrade.
It's very disappointing for Bradford. Asking for what we should have had for a long, long time is not a big ask. We're not asking for a space shuttle. All we're asking for is what Europe and what the south of England already has.
There are some tangible benefits of levelling up funds. Elsewhere in the north of England, this housing estate has received a grant for much-needed renovation work. But given the rising inflation rate and worsening economic outlook, in many cases money meant to improve services will just help them stand still. Back in Bradford, this food bank has received levelling up funds, but with the number of users rising, they're worried they still won't be able to cover growing needs.
We all know inflation's going up, by a lot, but it's people that are on the lowest incomes that will suffer the most, because the products that they're buying to basic food isn't just going up by 10% or whatever, it's going up by 100%. And I just don't know how people are going to survive unless the government really does do something in the next budget to increase people's money that they get in their pockets.
In May, the government announced a £15 billion support package to help with soaring energy costs. But there are already calls for much more to be done. Carl volunteers at the food bank and used to rely on its services. With inflation at its highest in 40 years, he's concerned for the future.
I can't see it getting any easier for me, and the numbers since I've been a volunteer have only multiplied, and I can only see it getting worse if something isn't really looked at in the mass, I've barely got 40 quid by the time I've paid everything out of my own, so I imagine even families are struggling far worse than I do.
In this context, the promised benefits of levelling up are much needed. But with Boris Johnson preparing to leave office, the policy remains far from complete.